Do you want to do the introduction for once? Okay, this is Alzheimer's, What They Forget to Tell You, episode 12. 13?
Episode 13, podcast 12.
So confusing. Okay. So, what are you going to say? You're going to wait for a few seconds?
No. Hi, Sandy.
So you're going to just say hi to everyone who watches?
Yes.
Okay, that's nice. That's very nice and
Hi
cordial.
to everybody who's watching, and thank you for joining us again for this week. So, we are going to cover a few things this evening, and hopefully we can do this quickly because, like I've mentioned in all of our previous podcasts, they have kind of rendered on the longer side.
Why are you so, what's with that? So, I like it, but like, what's with that?
Melania, hello?
It's
Betty.
Milena. Oh my God.
Melania. Melena, hello?
She's not Russian.
Betty. Hi, Betty.
Hi, Betty.
Is that
Yeah,
Betty?
that's
Betty?
Betty.
Oh,
That's
that's
Betty,
Betty.
Betty.
Betty. Hi, Betty. She probably just remembers me like my daughter's age, but anyway.
Yeah.
What are we covering today?
Can you speak up like you normally talk?
What? Well, no, because the kids just were put to bed.
Okay.
Children under 10. School day.
Because, you know, like we're so professional. We're in a recording studio.
Okay, so what are we covering today?
We're covering today, I saw on your, she does remember, you see, we don't have Alzheimer's. Betty and I, we don't have Alzheimer's. We're good.
I don't like these kind of jokes.
Yes.
But anyway, we're going to move that right along. I remember, Betty, too. You're in all of these pictures, like, I think it was Jason's prom. Did she take, were you guys getting Jason ready for prom and stuff?
I have no idea. She's
Anyway.
been around.
She was your pretty friend. I was like, it's your pretty friend.
So,
Shh, leave it.
did you hear that, Betty? She said you were my pretty friend. Love you too.
Okay.
Okay, so we were, Wendy posted something on your page about grief.
Yes, today, yes.
And I read it, and it was very timely. So I wanted to talk to you about it
Okay.
and your thoughts. But I also wanted to tie it into what we're talking about.
Okay.
So why did you feel to post that today?
Okay, so for the new viewers, people who haven't really been following, I lost my dad 2 years ago, and it wasn't due to Alzheimer's, but I lost him nevertheless. It was my first time, fortunately, and I say fortunately because going through grief or death is never easy, so the fact that I was lucky enough to have him for 36 years, I feel very fortunate. I'm gonna cry.
Okay. So she's going through this grieving process, and in the last 2 years, as if anyone who's lost anyone, it comes in waves. Unfortunately, I've lost my father, and that was 16 years ago. And I was talking to my cousin earlier and saying how Alzheimer's, dealing with somebody with Alzheimer's, the grieving process is continuous. So you go through it, even though the person's still alive, you are grieving every single day because you're losing a part of them. And I feel like I've been going through this grieving process coming up to 18 years. But worse in the last 2 because my mom's at the end stages. So every day it's like tumultuous. Like I call my life tentative. Like that's how I feel. Like everything's tentative. I can't make a serious plan because it's contingent on how my mom's doing. So that's why I wanted to talk about grieving.
Okay, and it's still hard to talk about, like anything else. I don't know if it's ever going to get easier. I don't have experience in this. I just know the wave that I try to ride every day. Some days it's easy. Some days it's not. Some days it's really clear and it's dark and I feel, like helpless to my knees. There's other days where I feel empowered and strong and I feel my dad with me and I'm, I'm inspired, and like there's just so many different spectrums to all of it. And really, again, if there's been any advice that I could give to anybody that's lost a loved one or that is going through the process of seeing somebody that they love, die, whether it's cancer or through a disease like this, Alzheimer's or anything else, it's, there's no specific textbook encyclopedia answer. It's so unique. Everybody's journey is so different. Everybody's wave is going to be so different, and everybody deals with these things differently. And so this is why I think this article was one that hit home for me today, and I really felt the need to share it on my wall. And just to be clear, most of the stuff that I share on my wall is never really for anybody else's anything outside of if it just hits something for me. I don't do those things for likes. I do it because I like it. So if it can touch or help or affect somebody else in a positive way, then I feel even better for it. I came across this article today. A friend of mine that I went to high school with recently lost her dad, and she posted it on her wall. So when I was reading it, I was like, wow, this reigns really true for me in terms of my truth and my journey and what I've gone through and my experience. And so, again, that's another reason why I did.
Well, that's why when I read it touched me only because basically we can do like a summary of the article, which was, what stood out was that grief is death is a date, grief is the calendar, and that was like powerful to me. And they were speaking of like, you have a lot of support at the funeral. When someone just dies, there's always somebody supporting you and taking care of you and being around you. And then, of course, when the funeral is over,
people change. The
support dissipates, and people become just go back to their regular scheduled program. And unfortunately, that's how it is dealing with Alzheimer's. And I think it's kind of, I saw some parallels where people just don't know what to say, people don't know how to support you, and they were saying that just to be mindful because of that same saying that death is a date, but grief is a calendar, so that it's a continuous process.
Yes. And
that if you really want to be supportive to that person, it should be
continuous.
That's right.
And again, what reigns true for me, and I said this in previous podcasts, that some people showed up in my life that I never expected. Like, I'm talking people that weren't really day one friends, or that were regular, consistent friends. People that were acquaintances, sure, or people that weren't really that close. They were there. By my side, even up to now. It's consistent checking in. How are you? How are you feeling? Everything okay? I'm saying a prayer for you. I'm thinking of you. I'm thinking of your dad. People that I really thought, family, whatever that means. People who...
Lori saying 6 months later.
Yeah.
Yes, that face.
Yeah. And again, I'm 2 years in, so...
And I'm 16.
Yeah. And ongoing, right? So... this type of thing really opens your eyes up to who people are to you, for you, how they show up for you. I don't hold anything against anybody who wasn't able to make it to the funeral. I know a lot of people sent their love, their prayers, their healing, everything throughout different realms and just could not make it to the funeral, and that's fine. And to be honest with you, if you guys took the time to read this article, that entire day was a blur for me. Like, there's times where I sit down with my mom and I try to recap the day, and there's so much of it that my brain just like deleted and doesn't remember. And there's been some friends of mine that were like, I haven't seen you since the funeral, and I'm like, you were there? Like, I just, it's amazing how that entire thing, those 3 days of the wake, the funeral, the burial, all of these things were just pushed out of my brain or my psyche, I guess maybe as a protection mechanism. I don't know. Again, I've never gone through it before. This is my first experience, but this type of thing that happens to people really defines you. It's a defining moment in your life. And
Oh, no, I read it. It's just, she has homework. So
Okay. Sorry. I'm like, what is that? Okay.
Yeah.
So these are the type of moments in life that are defining moments. And, you get to really know who your tribe is. You get to really know who the people who really have your back. And it's not for the day of and the day like surrounding right after the person passes away. It's months after. It's a year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 16 years after.
17 years.
Right? It doesn't stop. It doesn't change. It doesn't, just because the time has gone by, it doesn't make it at times easier. And I wish I could say that saying is real, that time heals all. In my case, and most cases in terms of people that, I speak to that's lost a loved one, they feel the same, that the void is still there.
No, I just think you learn to live with it. I don't think it heals. I don't think you get over it.
You don't.
I think you just learn a little
how
bit.
to cope.
Yeah, every day gets a little bit, you get a little bit stronger. That's it.
And I would agree with that on a certain level too, but I find, even having conversations with my mom, the more time that passes, it almost feels like it's more time that you're forgetting those memories. You're forgetting the details or the feeling or the touch or the smells or it's like you don't want another year to pass. You don't want anything to go by and be like, oh my God, now it's 3 years. Now it's 4 years. Now it's 10 years. Now it's 15 years. It's like you just want to feel like that person's still there. So I don't know. It's this constant give and take. It's this constant, I feel like it's riding the wave. And that's exactly how I describe it to my friends who are recently going through anything like this, where it's loss or, it's riding a wave.
Mm-hmm. And that's how it feels every day with someone with Alzheimer's disease. It's riding the wave, except the person's still alive.
Yeah, and you're watching them deteriorate, and you're watching them forget, and you're watching them kind of just lose who they are, and in essence end up as a shell. They're stuck in their shell.
I've been reading stuff, and I find it interesting. So this is along the same topic, but I keep reiterating all the time, how do you deal with this disease? I think a lot of people get caught up in trying to understand the disease, which is ironic in itself because it's a brain disorder, and you can only really understand it in an autopsy. That's the whole point why there's no cure, because it's so difficult to diagnose, it's so difficult to study, because it's the brain. And people get caught up on, well, how do I deal with this, and why is this happening? And really the only way you can really cope with this disease is kind of like making yourself stronger and not concentrating on
the loss.
Yeah, like I read something, I don't know, well, you wouldn't remember this, but my mom, and it's typical in Alzheimer patients or individuals, I don't want to say patients, where they'll say, I want to go home, I want to go home, I want to go home. And I'm reading this blog and everyone's like, well, why do they say that? And it could be this and it could be that. We don't know what's going on with the brain. So really and truly, what does it matter what it means? Like you're frustrating yourself because people are like, I feel sad because they are home. And the whole disease is a neurological brain disorder. Stop trying to understand it. You are going to drive yourself crazy. If there's anything that I've learned along this journey, you can't focus on the disease. You have to focus on, I guess, trying to like breathe in, breathe out, not trying to diagnose or understand it. It's different for everybody. Everybody presents differently. And I think that causes a lot of frustration when you're trying to like, why is this happening and why is that happening? It shouldn't I don't think it should matter why it's happening.
No, you're right. But at the same time, too, and as you had stated in the beginning, when you first got the diagnosis and your dad was in denial, your brother and you and everybody was like, no, this can't be. You want to find out everything you possibly can about this disease to try and see if you can fix it for the person or help.
It's our nature.
Yes.
However, this is what I'm saying. So if, Kat was saying, well, why don't you do, what would you do different? That's what I would do different. I would not try to kill myself in figuring out why they do what they do. It does not make any sense to try to do that.
Right.
And it's different for everybody. So you're not going to find one answer that's going to be a one size fits all, because it's your brain. It's intricate, right? So I just think to prevent a lot of frustration and confusion and aggravation, because, and then sometimes resentment, guilt, just kind of like deal with the day-to-day and try to kind of like, I think you have to build yourself up, not try to be a doctor or a neurologist.
You smell like soap.
Okay, that was very random. At least that's a scene. Yes, my dad would say that he wanted to go home after he was in my house for 10 minutes. Made me sad. See, one time he asked my mom and I where he was and when they were visiting me. Yeah, exactly, Lynn. My mom all the time would say, I want to go home, I want to go home, I want to go home. And we were like, you are home. But we don't know what that means. It could mean somewhere in the past. It could mean somewhere where they feel comfortable. Maybe they feel agitated at the moment. They're very confused, right?
Yeah.
And you shouldn't take it personal. See, this is the thing. This is the thing. Everyone feels guilty, and oh my gosh, and it makes you sad. It really makes you sad. But it's the brain.
Right.
And if we were all neurologists,
it would make more sense. And Marina.
Okay, stop. Why do you try to pronounce the whole name?
Because that's who. What's her name?
Marina. Okay.
I don't know. She's got a whole name
Continuous
there.
process. She's talking about grieving and sufficient support and understanding, because she lost her father, right? I agree. When it comes to grief, time does not heal. The void will forever remain immense. Time, if anything, teaches you to cope. Yeah, exactly. Okay?
Okay.
Do you feel better now?
About?
I don't know. You said I smelled like soap.
Well, you could have been smelling worse. Just saying.
That's very rude.
No, it's not. I'm actually giving you a compliment.
Oh, you're giving me a compliment? Don't try to do the robot dance. That doesn't work on me. Okay. Oh my god. That was like a commercial break.
Sometimes you just gotta break it up.
Okay.
Are we done? Was this topic you wanted to talk
about? It was very timely, and I wanted to tie it into, we always go back to, of course, what they forget to tell you, and I'm telling you what they forget to tell you. Okay.
So, for this podcast, this edition, the 13th.
Are you sure it's 13?
It is 13.
I love 13, because I was born on the 13th. Very special day.
It's the live feed. It's our 13th podcast, but it's the 12th.
They don't see that. They don't know what you're pointing at. Stop it.
You're
welcome, Tash.
It's the 12th podcast. In any case, just so that if you're newly tuning in and just do not know, this is the book. This is Karen's book. It's Alzheimer's, What They Forget to Tell You. This is my Auntie Marlene on the cover. You can purchase this book at Chapters, Barnes & Noble, Amazon.
You sound like an infomercial.
Where else can you buy this book? Her inbox. You can leave your information.
Yeah.
She can send you one, a signed copy, a personal signed copy.
Do you want to sign it?
Why would I sign it? I didn't write it.
Oh, just checking.
She wrote it. She will sign it. She will send it to you. See how that works? Okay, so leave your information in her inbox. She would be happy. Well, would you be happy? Sad? Not sad? Not happy? I don't know. Talk. I don't want to talk for you. Ew.
I'll be happy to sign it if you would like.
This is Alzheimer's, What They Forget to Tell You. It's a great book, especially if you're going through, you know, early onset Alzheimer's, dementia, anybody who is going through that, your family member, your loved one. This is a great resource because there's a lot of research in here. There's a lot of different avenues you can look up in terms of some helpful tips that you can, you know.
What did you get out of it? You never told me.
I thought it was, well, first of all, I'm going to have a different take because this is my family. She's my family.
It's still a take.
It was a great book. It was sad for me. It was sad. I watched her, you know, I knew her before this. So reading this was...
That's why it's important for your opinion.
Yeah, it was very devastating to read this. And again, I remember my dad had the same opinion. This is my mother's sister. So, you know, again, you should have my mom on one of these podcasts and just, you know, kind of pick her brain on one of these things. But, you know,
Your mom finds it difficult.
It is difficult.
So that's why, it'd
very
be
difficult.
very emotional for her.
Very difficult. I couldn't imagine one of my siblings going down this journey. This would be excruciating to watch. I mean, you have no choice. You have to kind of sit back and accept it and go through it and learn about it at the same time. It just sucks all the way around. There's no rainbow, happy ending, lollipops. There's none of that. It sucks. It's disgusting. It's horrible. It's horrific. It's devastating.
There's no nice thing to say about this.
Nothing.
So,
Hi, Bill. Bill checks in every single podcast. That's awesome.
Yes.
Cool. Yeah, so that's my take. I mean, I can dissect it, but we don't have that type of time. Maybe another podcast. I don't know. I thought it was well written. I thought again, I'm gonna have a different take because this is personal to me. I had a relationship with her, so.
I'm doing okay, Bill. Thanks. See?
He always asks. That's awesome. And going back to, not to put that on hold, but going back to the article we were speaking about before that I posted on my wall. Guys, if you know anybody that's going through loss or that has lost somebody, whether it's been recent
or losing, which in this disease, this is what it is. This is why I wanted to talk about the grief process, to be honest. It's because it's exactly that same thing, except the person's here. Yeah.
It's tough. It's tough for the person going through it. It's tough for the family members. It's tough for friends, family. There's just no easy way around this. And, you know, again, you're in such a daze. You're in such a shock mode. You know, you're in go mode when the person transitions and you're in funeral arrangements and getting everything, you know, together and figured out, and insurance and this and burial and details, and you're in go mode. You're not even thinking about what has really happened. It has not hit you yet. And, you know, when smoke clears and all is said and done and your loved one is either cremated or buried and the house is quiet and the phone is not ringing and people don't know how to reach out and talk to you because they're either nervous, scared, uncomfortable, feeling weird. They just want to leave you with time. They don't want to leave you with too much time. They want to check up. They don't want to check up. Some people are like, well, whatever for you. I had family members that just completely were like, you know, whatever. Everyone's got a different journey. You know, that article was really to just kind of be a reminder to let you guys know, check in, you know. These are people that are dealing with loss every day. After the funeral's said and done and after everyone's flown home and after all the arrangements are over and everybody is, you know, doing their own thing and back to life, that person, those people are still dealing with the loss. And it's loss. It's a big void. It's this new chapter of life, trying to get accustomed to living life without this loved one. And it's huge. Like my mom, I think of all the time. That's 42 years of her life. 42 years. I haven't even been on this planet for that long, but 42 years of life as you know it, sharing it with a person that you love, and all of a sudden that's gone. What is that like? I can't imagine. Now, this is my father, who 36 years of what I've known is gone. That's a huge void. And yes, people will ask me all the time, how are you feeling? Are you okay? And I told you guys before, it's riding a wave. There's days where it's great. I'm fine. Well, I shouldn't say it's great. Not, it's never great. I miss him terribly every day. But some days are easier than others, and some days are much harder than others. And it's riding the wave. And checking in means everything. It means everything.
I'm checking in.
She's checking in. And you guys are checking in too. Karen, can you post the link to your page? I would like to read
read
it.
You don't have to
I'm
read.
sorry.
Some things you can just read.
Whoopsh, whoopsh.
That's 'cause you need,
knocked out. Her nose would have been broken.
That's because you need glasses. You're so
Should we-
young and
should
you
we-
need glasses.
Should we robot it again?
We?
You're being a hater. You see, there's no room on this podcast for haters.
Since when do I do the robot with you? That's only for the car ride.
Oh my God, let's not talk about that.
It's awesome.
Okay, so let's wrap this up.
Okay,
because,
let's wrap it up.
Yeah, it's getting late, and I'm sure everybody has children and dinner and Netflix to watch and stuff like that.
There's a good show I'm watching on Netflix.
Which one?
The New Girl. It's so funny.
Haven't caught that one yet.
It's good. 2 thumbs up.
Okay, so again, I'll continue my reel about should you guys have any questions, concerns, anything that you guys want to talk about or ask, either inbox, check in the next podcast that we're having. Feel free to ask. We're more than happy to get your questions answered.
Yeah, and we're doing these on Wednesdays, right?
Yeah.
We should be consistent.
If we don't get them done on Wednesdays, then for sure it will be done on Thursday. But Wednesday's been our day.
That's the go-to day.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Feedback is always great. Positive, negative. We don't business. Preferably positive. Nobody got time for negative nonsense. You don't have anything good to say? Scroll down.
Or not watch.
Right?
How about that?
I ain't begging nothing. Jeez. No. Anyway, but we are grateful for the support. You guys have all been great. For the people that have left comments, inboxes, texts, messages, whatever. We appreciate all of you. And we're grateful for all of you. This is why we continue to do it.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Okay, so you do your usual sign off. Everyone looks forward to
Well,
it.
what's my sign off?
You do the robot thing.
No, I did the robot twice. That's a wrap. You can't kill the robot. Don't kill the robot.
Don't you do a gotta go.
Yeah, gots to go. That's right. We gots to go.
We need to have a signing off thing. Okay.
Okay.
No.
No.
Okay. Stop it.
Okay, so we'll see you guys next week. Be blessed. Stay blessed. Peace and love. All that good stuff. And we'll see you soon. Thanks for checking in, cluing in.
Thanks for watching. Appreciate it. And until next time, see you.
Bye.
Bye.